with segregated halls for men and women, including independent access, able to accommodate 1,500 guests, private car park with car park attendants, easy access, great location, and full free Wi-Fi. There's no place better for your special day. For bookings and inquiries, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk or visit our website at www.imws.org.uk. The Al Hikmah Centre, where your special day becomes a cherished memory. Play five-a-side football in the Al Hikmah Sports Hall for just £18 an hour between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Call 01924 500 555. To book a slot at any other time, call 07968 222 886. It is related by Sayyidina Anas radiallahu anhu that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when a man marries, he has completed half of his religion, so let him fear Allah regarding the remaining half. The Al Hikmah Nikah service launched by the IMWS aims to introduce prospective marriage partners to help fulfill this important aspect of faith. The service is open to unmarried Muslims who are permanent residents of the UK. For more information, visit our website at www.imws.org.uk.
Radio IMWS.
Assalamu alaikum. You are listening to Radio IMWS, broadcasting live from the Al Hikmah Centre. I am Safeeyah, and this is Safeeyah's Hour. Today I have with me Habiban Zaman, who has recently been to collect her British Community Honours Award. How are you today, Habiban?
Assalamu alaikum, Safeeyah. Alhamdulillah, I'm good.
Tell us a little about yourself.
Okay, I started my journey, I suppose, through volunteering with Awaz newspaper, and that's probably about 27 years ago. And I suppose at that time, particularly for Asian women, volunteering was unheard of. It was sort of frowned upon, and the organisation I got involved with was mainly men. But alhamdulillah, they were really good brothers, and they've been very good mentors throughout, and they've laid a really good foundation for me. And throughout my life, I've been able to go back to them for support, advice. I don't want to mention particular names because if I miss anybody out, I'll probably have to ask for forgiveness. So, in terms of the team, I'll talk about the team. They've all been fantastic, and, they've all been volunteering for different things or different groups and different issues throughout that time. So I've been able to look upon those individuals and learn from them and sort of try and get involved with different issues myself. And a lot of times, I've been able to go back and bounce ideas from them, particularly where I've got involved with like sensitive issues around women and sort of dealing with like domestic abuse or women's education and things like that.
Yes, I forgot to mention at the start, if you have any questions, that you would like to ask Habiban, then you can ring the hotline on 01924 505 629, or you can WhatsApp and text on 07460 809 218. I did forget to close the door, so
Can I go and shut it?
Oh yes, please. Sorry about that, listeners. That's my clumsiness, forgetting to shut the door. So, you travel to Pakistan quite often, right? What's it like for women in Pakistan compared to women in our community today through the years?
I suppose women, from sort of where I sit, women in Pakistan seem to have a very chilled out life. Where you've got women that are working, you've always got women who are coming and doing their housework. They'll always find a maid to do the washing and the ironing and cleaning the house. They'll probably only just come back and do the cooking, if that. But in the main, they just focus on their career, and that's it. You know, they'll have nannies that are looking after the children, whereas women here, we don't have that sort of lifestyle. You know, we tend to have to do everything ourselves, and childcare is just so expensive that it's just very hard to put them into daycare. We tend to use a lot of family. I mean, alhamdulillah, you know, when I had my first child, I did put him into daycare. But I've always been blessed to have my mum around. My mum lives with me, and she's been like my rock, you know, for me to be able to go and do the things that I've been able to. Had my mum not been there in the same household, I wouldn't have been able to achieve what I have done and be able to get involved in the things that I wanted to. Because particularly from, you know, having a young child, it's like, you know, I sort of believed that they have to have that strong foundation in terms of their faith, in terms of their identity and their background, as well as their sort of upbringing. So, you know, even though I put him into childcare, it was always important to have mum as that role model for me to be able to go and do the things that I wanted to. Whereas in, you know, in Pakistan, you know, you don't have that kind of a background. You live in extended families in the main, unless you're in the city. You'll always have an auntie or an uncle or grandma or, you know, the neighbours, which tend to really be your family that will look after the children. So in terms of the comparison, you know, we have like very different lifestyles. And women, even though they're independent here, we still lead very stressful lives. You know, we still go back to the house and have to do the washing and the ironing and all the other chores. And, you know, particularly when you're living in a community like Batley or Dewsbury, you know, you've always got something going on, whether it's a wedding or a funeral or you know, some other occasion where you've got to go and make that visit.
That's fine. I just got a text to turn your mic up. You know, you've done voluntary work, is it, throughout your life so far? Can you tell us a little bit more about your voluntary work? Where did you start?
Well, like I said to you, I started with the Awaz newspaper, and then I probably continued doing volunteering with them for about 7-8 years. And through that, at the time, we had a sister organisation, the Asian Arts Group. So I sort of got involved in helping and planning that. And through that time, I moved on to being a women's development worker in Halifax. And through that sort of work, with vulnerable and disadvantaged women, and it was like accompanying women who had suffered some sort of abuse. It could be like, you know, they've left home, gone into a refuge, and supporting them through the courts. It could have been like education issues, settling children in schools and so on. So that's where the passion for women's work sort of really stemmed. And then from that, I got involved with a number of other sort of organisations, and particularly like Kirklees Race Equality Council, you know, as a management committee member, Millen Day Centre, and various other sort of Kirklees Council committees. You know, they used to have the Women's Equalities Committee and Race Committee. I started volunteering, sort of setting up International Women's Day, and particularly focusing on getting younger women involved. And through that time, so the women's work started becoming more apparent, that there was a need for it, particularly around issue-based work. And from that, it sort of snowballed, really. And in terms of going on further, I went on to qualify as a youth and community worker. I did the certificate in youth and community work at Bradford and Ilkley College. And that, again, kind of opened up many, many opportunities as to why there is a particular need for that focused women's work. And then in terms of like developing social policy around some of those issues, that's how I got involved in lots of other community organisations and sort of developing some of the local groups. I set up the Southtown Women's Association with Frida Patel sort of many, many years ago, and the North Kirklees Women's Association. Those were groups that were really looking at taking women out of social isolation and trying to get them involved and getting them talking to other women to see what other activities we can set up for women.
Right. We've just got a text through. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Great program. What was your involvement with Awaz? How useful was the paper and what did it achieve? I think I know who sent that.
My involvement with Awaz was sort of writing community reports, and at that time, Sunday sort of afternoon, evening used to be our chill out time, or work time, should we call it, volunteering time, where we'd all get together and put together the newspaper and then do the cut and paste job, putting the news reports together. Are you okay with that?
Yeah. It shows I've got more messages, but there's nothing there. Sorry.
And the newspaper itself was a fantastic paper. It dealt with many of the issues that were very pertinent to this community. And it was a campaigning paper. And at that time, because there was no other, BEM wasn't around at the time, but because it was volunteers, I think we all did a fantastic job in putting some really good issues across to many of these sort of organisations, and particularly like things around halal meals in schools and sex education. They were things that through that paper we were able to campaign for and get things done.
All right, it's interesting. We're just gonna go for a quick break. Do you remember, if you have anything you would like to ask Habiban, you can ring the studio hotline on 01924 505 629, or you can WhatsApp and text on 07 460 809 218. That's 07 460 809 218. We'll be back in a moment.
Online and on your home receiver, you're listening to Radio IMWS. Hire the Al Hikmah Center for your weddings, functions and events, with segregated halls for men and women, including independent access, able to accommodate 1,500 guests, private car park with car park attendants, easy access, great location and full free Wi-Fi. There's no place better for your special day. For bookings and inquiries, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk, or visit our website at www.imws.org.uk. The Al Hikmah Center, where your special day becomes a cherished memory. Play five-a-side football in the Al Hikmah Sports Hall for just £18 an hour between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Call 01924 500 555. To book a slot at any other time, call 07968 222 886. It is related by Sayyidina Anas radiallahu anhu that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when a man marries, he has completed half of his religion, so let him fear Allah regarding the remaining half. The Al Hikmah Nikah service launched by the IMWS aims to introduce prospective marriage partners to help fulfill this important aspect of faith. The service is open to unmarried Muslims who are permanent residents of the UK. For more information, visit our website at www.imws.org.uk.
Radio IMWS.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. You are listening to Radio IMWS, broadcasting live from the Al Hikmah Center. I am Safeeyah and this is Safeeyah's Hour. Today I have with me Habiban Zaman, who recently went to collect her British Community Honours Award. If you have anything you'd like to ask her, then you can WhatsApp and text on 07460 809 218, or you can ring the studio hotline on 01924 505 629. Another question. Salams, what are your future aspirations, your short and long-term goals?
Okay, in terms of like future aspirations, I suppose it's continuing, you know, just because I've got the awards, I can't kind of like put my feet up and say, well, you know what, I've got the recognition and that's it. You know, I've done the job and got the T-shirt and that's it. I'm sort of inspired to do more, really, and I'm sort of so keen on trying to, you know, do more for women, particularly trying to get them into sort of civic roles and play more of an active role in the community. Because again, I sort of struggle trying to identify women, you know, particularly if an issue's happened within the community. It's like, you know, which woman can actually stand up and speak up for us? You know, it's always like, you know, we've just got maybe one or two that, you know, I'll feel confident or will have the ability to maybe relate to that individual issue. So it's about how I can kind of get more women involved in those sorts of roles. That's, you know, really my aspiration, and that's what I'm working towards. And for the last sort of couple of years, you know, the International Women's Day events that I've done, I've tried to identify women that can actually take on that role. And we have got a couple, but it's trying to work on them and get them to that level where they will be able to speak up for the community and about the community.
Right. In a community like ours, for years, people have disliked the idea of a woman trying to make a difference. How did you get past this barrier?
Alhamdulillah, I think I've been very, very fortunate in that area. All the communities that I've worked with throughout Kirklees, you know, and there have been communities of different backgrounds, I have been able to make my stance and stand up for what I believe is right. Even though at times, you know, it's been a challenging situation, you know, I have managed to gain that respect from the people that I've worked with. And I think for me, having that integrity with the community has been very, very important. It's been about, like, you know, for example, when you leave a room, you want people to say good things about you. You know, they may not necessarily agree with you, but at least, you know, if you feel that you've made a difference from where you went in, I think, you know, for me that is a success.
What other challenges have you faced?
I suppose really the challenges have been like personal challenges rather than community or professional challenges. You know, having your own home and having children and having to raise the children and be a full-time working mum, it has been very, very hard. And particularly, you know, some of the volunteering that I've been involved in. At one point, you know, like 2 years ago, I was a governor on 3 different schools. And really, you know, at the time I was sort of questioning myself, why am I doing it? But when those schools don't have Asian governors and, you know, you've got Asian pupils at the school, you kind of like think, well, who's representing these young people that are at the school? So once one of the schools, they amalgamated with another school, I thought, you know what, they'll probably get more people on their governing body, so I'll come off one. But I'm still on 2 at the moment. And it is, you know, challenging. But it becomes more challenging, I suppose, when my mum becomes ill, and then having to care for mum and then try and work flexibly within my full-time job. That's the only sort of challenge that I can sort of personally see that I have to face. But then, alhamdulillah, I come from an extended family that have been very, very supportive. I've got very good sister-in-laws and nieces that are always there to pick up the pieces for me. And I've got by.
It'd be nice though if men could cook as well and help us out sometimes, wouldn't it?
Well, I can't really knock my husband because, you know, when it has got hot in the kitchen, I've said to him, right, I'm on my way home. Can you make sure, you know, this is done, and I'll quickly come home. And, you know, I've only got like an hour to do this. You know, he has been there and he has picked up the pieces, and particularly, you know, picking up children and dropping them off, you know, that's been a big help as well. And I've got very good in-laws as well. You know, I can't knock anybody sort of in my personal life, and without those people I wouldn't be where I am. And alhamdulillah, you know, I'm very blessed to have such a loving and caring family that are always there for me, even at short notice. So it's more the personal challenges really than professional.
Can you tell us a little more about your British Community Honours Award that you was awarded from Her Majesty?
The British Community Honours Award has been awarded through the House of Lords.
Ah,
It's
yes,
the British.
I've got my questions mixed up. Sorry.
It's the British Empire Medal.
Yeah.
Which one is it you wanted to know?
The British Empire Medal. Sorry about that.
The British Empire Medal, that was services to women in the community. That was last year in the Queen's Birthday Honours. And I suppose when I look back, the contribution towards women's work throughout Kirklees has been huge. Particularly around the forced marriage, sort of honour-based violence, the seminars that I've done at sort of neighbourhood level, got communities involved to help them try to understand some of those issues. I suppose those are the issues that were quite sort of hard-hitting, that have been recognised. And alhamdulillah, I feel quite honoured to be the only sort of Pakistani in Kirklees to have received that. But then I'm the only individual to have received the British Community Honours Award, and that is for diversity and cohesion work. And again, that has been on a voluntary basis. I've got a very good friend, Hanifa Dirwan, that kind of like tags along with me, whenever we're wanting to kind of like do sort of presentations in the community. We've sort of set up a very good partnership with St Luke's Church in Cleckheaton,
Right.
and Lepton Church in Huddersfield. And through that process, she's been with me where we've gone in and doing quite a lot of myth busting and sort of stereotypes about Muslim communities and things that sort of misunderstandings within those communities. And then we've got a core group of Muslim women who have come along and sort of shared friendship and faith with those communities. And we've talked about different things, and really we've tried to focus on the commonalities that we have between us, things around family life, education, children, aspirations, things like that, where when we've got together, there's been that divide. But when we've sort of sat together and discussed those issues, both sides of the communities have sort of said, well, really, there's no difference between us. So why do we have these myths and stereotypes about each other? But it's what people read in the media or what they see on TV, or, fueled by their own sort of misjudgments about other communities. So until we don't sit down together and share those discussions and ideas, it's very difficult to have that understanding about other communities. And we've tried to meet in like open settings where other people can see us. We've sort of met in Hannah's tea rooms in Batley, sort of Shelley Garden Centre, places where other people are sort of coming in from other communities that can sort of see, and they'll see, a group of like Asian women sat in niqabs or in jabbas and thinking, what are they doing in Shelley? We don't see those sort of women in our community. So that's the sort of work that I've been honoured for with this recent award.
Fantastic. We'll just go for another quick break. Do you remember you can WhatsApp or text any questions you have for Habiban on 07460809218. We'll be back in a short moment.
Online and on your home receiver, you're listening to Radio IMWS. Hire the Al Hikmah Center for your weddings, functions and events, with segregated halls for men and women, including independent access, able to accommodate 1,500 guests, private car park with car park attendants, easy access, great location and full free Wi-Fi. There's no place better for your special day. For bookings and inquiries, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk or visit our website at www.imws.org.uk. The Al Hikmah Center, where your special day becomes a cherished memory. Play five-a-side football in the Al Hikmah Sports Hall for just £18 an hour between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Call 01924 500 555. To book a slot at any other time, call 07968 222 886. It is related by Sayyidina Anas radiallahu anhu that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when a man marries, he has completed half of his religion, so let him fear Allah regarding the remaining half. The Al-Hikmah Nikah service launched by the IMWS aims to introduce prospective marriage partners to help fulfill this important aspect of faith. The service is open to unmarried Muslims who are permanent residents of the UK. For more information, visit our website at www.imws.org.uk.
Radio IMWS. Online and on your home receiver, you're listening to Radio IMWS.
Join the discussion on Radio IMWS every Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday from 8 p.m. Topics include Islam, current affairs, health, legal, education and a weekly program delivered in Gujarati. You can join in by calling the studio on 01924 505 629 or send us a text or WhatsApp on 07460 809 218. For program schedules, visit www.imws.org.uk. If you would like to volunteer and be part of the Radio IMWS team, email radio@imws.org.uk or call 01924 500 555. Are you running a business from home and need to move into an office, a place where you can confidently meet your clients, or maybe looking to relocate? The Al Hikmah Center provides office space in a safe, secure and scenic location. With easy access, convenient location, free car parking and free Wi-Fi, hiring an office at the Al Hikmah Center can allow your business to grow. For more details and special offers, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk. Hold your meetings and conferences at a secluded scenic location just 15 minutes from the M1 and M62. Whether small, medium or large, the Al Hikmah Center in Batley, West Yorkshire has the facilities to accommodate, including free parking and all the equipment to make your seminar successful. So whether your need is for a handful or over 1,000 attendees, we have all you need. For details and charges, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk. You can find out more about our conference facilities by visiting www.imws.org.uk.
Radio IMWS.
Go on then.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. You're listening to Radio IMWS, broadcasting live from the Al Hikmah Center. I am Safeeyah and this is Safeeyah's Hour. Apologies for that delay. We just got chatting, didn't we? If you have anything you'd like to ask Habiban, you can text on our WhatsApp 07460809218, or you can ring the hotline on 01924 505 629. Just before the break, we were talking about getting women to get sort of like get involved with the community where there's stereotypes of Muslim women and so on. How can we build on this further?
When you say we
as in the Al Hikmah Center.
Al Hikmah Center. Well, in the past, I have done quite a lot of work with Al Hikmah Center, sort of with the women's group. And one of the things around cohesion that was a very successful session that we had was with women from Bristol. And they were older white women that had a real desire to meet older Muslim women. So we came to the Al Hikmah Center and we had a session here, but then unfortunately nothing sort of came of that. But those women, I'd love to come back and meet other women here at Al Hikmah. I have tried to invite them to other sessions. In fact, they did go to one at Dewsbury Moor some months back, but they didn't feel that same experience as they did with the women at Al Hikmah. And I suppose again with the Al Hikmah women, it's trying to find women who have that commonality or can share similar experiences with the older white women. And they seemed to strike a chord when they came to Al Hikmah. So, if there's that opportunity here, I could work on that and get them back here to meet those women.
Yeah, sounds fantastic. In your personal view, how do you think the community has changed for women now over time? Has it got any better, or are we still in that same place from when you first started off?
We have become a lot more open to women working, women going on to further education. I think the only sort of hindrance for women is that, obviously we are the child bearers and we have to run homes, and it's like, how do you actually manage that time? And family, in fact, sort of communities are more receptive of that change. It's about building women's confidence to be able to get more involved, and that's where, particularly now, when I look back in my days, there was more. Well, there weren't that many opportunities for volunteering, but people were more open to volunteering. Whereas now, people are a bit more selfish, and they kind of like think. I'm generalizing, by the way. People. It's like they'll look at it. What's in it for me? And I struggle a lot with that, because particularly, in my work role where I'm trying to involve women in particularly like what I think a really good project, they'll look at it and they'll think, well, I just can't be asked getting up to go to that. And it's trying to motivate them to sort of personally get something out of the project, but also in terms of volunteering. There's huge benefits in that, particularly learning sort of new skills. If it depends on what level you want to get involved at, but in terms of planning the project and delivering it, looking at like really good outcomes and how you can build on the successes of that, and making a difference to somebody's life. It's a huge impact that volunteering can have on a personal level and working with the group.
We were talking in that break about women's refuges and so on. For women in refuges, I know there's some women that will probably be listening right now who are in that vulnerable position, who feel their life isn't going to get anywhere. What would you say to them if they were here right now for these women?
When you say in terms of their life's not going to get anywhere,
they feel like, with them being stuck in a refuge.
In a refuge. Well, again, I suppose a lot of it is down to what skill levels they've got, what education they've got, because life in a refuge, it still means that you've still got to have an income, because you're still paying rent and, your board, whatever you want to call it, towards your room in the refuge. And life in a refuge isn't fantastic. You've got shared facilities. There's times where, if it's not a Muslim refuge or a Black and Asian refuge, you could be facing racism. And particularly if you don't know the language and you can't understand what else is going on around you, you're going to really struggle. I've known many, many women throughout my working life, and I was involved in the Kirklees Black and Asian Women's Refuge, when it was setting up, and joined them on the management committee and so on. Life hasn't been easy for those individuals. They'll pick up the bag and leave home thinking, well, the benefit system will help. But the benefit system is only as good as what you're going to make out of it. And then when you've got to pay all the additional costs and, live as a single parent, it's very, very difficult. And then it's about, the children having access to the father or the extended family. Again, particularly with Asian families, it causes huge issues. And then in the main, many of those women return. So then it's like you've put a trademark against your name, and then how it's a taboo subject within our community, and you've left home, and you've also got that against your name. Then it's like, well, what respect have you come back to that community or that family? And then you're open to further abuse, and it's living within that sort of cycle. And you've got to really have a lot of confidence to be able to go back. I mean, I've dealt with a case recently where this individual, she came from Pakistan, was facing huge abuse from the extended family. She moved out, and then for some reason she just decided to disappear. And when she did, it's like at the time she seemed to think everything was going to be hunky-dory, the benefit system was going to help her and so on. She ended up in a refuge where she was having to pay all the costs herself, and she ended up getting a part-time job. and that wasn't really funding her costs. Then it's like, well, she's trying to get back to the husband, and then in the end, she did return, but then it's like, what next?
Yeah.
It becomes very, very difficult.
It is hard being in an Asian community. It is.
And then the word gets out as well. And
yeah,
then everybody
and in
knows
an
your
Asian
business.
community, words do travel fast, and
Very.
it can be hard for women in an Asian community.
Yeah, so really they need to think about, and maybe explore all their opportunities before they choose to leave home.
Yeah.
Because, coming back to that sort of situation doesn't make it easier for them in the longer term.
And I guess, say if there is a woman who's suffering at home, and because she doesn't know what it's going to be like out there in that world, and then for her to get help before she leaves home so she can have an understanding, it's very hard, because she's got her husband or whoever it is that's abusing her over her shoulder. And it's like, you've just got to run. And when they do, they feel they've just got to turn back again. It's very hard.
But it's about having the resilience as well, isn't it? Because for everything in life, you've got to struggle, you've got to work hard. But then as a single parent, particularly if you've got children, and then having to take them to school and having to raise them on your own. And then when other people are having access to them, the children are torn between the two families.
Yeah.
And then maybe 2 years later, you think, you know what, that's not a good choice I made. I need to go back. Yeah. And then by then, the whole community knows your business.
Yeah, they do. Just got a text. Congratulations and well done, Habiban, for your contribution, and keep up the good work, Aziz Darji.
Oh, alhamdulillah. Bless you, brother. I suppose, he's one of the people that has been a very good mentor. And, at times of difficulties and, dealing with sensitive issues, he's always been at the end of the phone, always been willing to listen and give me that advice and support, which I've really appreciated.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have him in my life. As in, he's my father, so I'm
Very
blessed.
good, yeah,
Alhamdulillah. Yeah, he's very good to turn to. I think that's yes. If anyone has got any questions, you can WhatsApp and text on 07460809218. We'll just go for another quick break, and we'll be back in a moment.
Online and on your home receiver, you're listening to Radio IMWS.
Hire the Al Hikmah Center for your weddings, functions and events, with segregated halls for men and women, including independent access, able to accommodate 1,500 guests, private car park with car park attendants, easy access, great location and full free Wi-Fi. There's no place better for your special day. For bookings and inquiries, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk or visit our website at www.imws.org.uk. The Al Hikmah Center, where your special day becomes a cherished memory. Play five-a-side football in the Al Hikmah Sports Hall for just £18 an hour between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Call 01924 500 555. To book a slot at any other time, call 07968 222 886. It is related by Sayyidina Anas radiallahu anhu that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when a man marries, he has completed half of his religion, so let him fear Allah regarding the remaining half. The Al Hikmah Nikah service launched by the IMWS aims to introduce prospective marriage partners to help fulfill this important aspect of faith. The service is open to unmarried Muslims who are permanent residents of the UK. For more information, visit our website at www.imws.org.uk.
Radio IMWS.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. You are listening to Radio IMWS, broadcasting live from the Al Hikmah Center. I am Safeeyah and this is Safeeyah's Hour. Remember, you can ask Habiban anything you'd like by texting in on 07460809218. We were talking about vulnerable women and them returning back to a community like ours, and how, you know, they'd basically be shamed, wouldn't they? If they ran away and come back, you know, you're a shame. But how could we address vulnerable women in this community?
I suppose it's organisations like the Al Hikmah Centre and maybe PKWA, you know, that have that sort of Islamic ethos, trying to engage with those women, set up sort of social groups where women can come have that support with each other. And at the end of the day, you know, we're practicing Muslims, and, you know, going out and sort of leaving home and going into a setting where, you know, you've got more Western influence. It doesn't matter how much Western influence you're getting. At the end of the day, you've still got to end up working on your own. So you might have that initial support, but you've got to have that confidence to be able to live your life on your own with minimum support. So at the end of the day, not everybody will have that confidence. But in terms of, you know, well, everybody, you know, I don't want to just put the onus on the men to support the women, but it's everybody's responsibility. It's a shared responsibility that we need to take and bring women together so we can support them, so we're not ending up in those situations where they're having to leave the situation, because what they're going to find is not a situation that's going to be better than what they've left.
Yeah. Someone's just texting. Let me get that message up. For Habib and Zaman, I am very proud of you, and may Allah bless her with many more awards and give her the strength to help more people. Love, your niece Tanzila.
Oh, bless. Thank you. She's another one that's my rock.
Oh,
bless her.
That's sweet. Is there anything that you would like to say to women listening today?
In terms of, you know, in terms of women, we have challenges. You know, we're going to have those challenges all our life. But, you know, in terms of having ambitions, there's nothing wrong with having ambitions, and women should be having ambitions, because at the end of the day, we are the educators of our children and the future sort of generations to come. You've got to believe in yourself, and you know, in terms of being able to get involved in anything, it's not hard to pull something off if you're trying to do it from your heart. It doesn't matter what people think. You need to believe in yourself. It's like the sky is your limitation. Mm-hmm. And if you're going into any sort of situation and thinking that, you know, I can do this and I'm doing it for the betterment of myself and my community and my family, then any situation is an easy situation to walk into, really.
You've got to have the willpower, haven't you? Like,
willpower.
I will do it.
And sort of working with women, I mean, it is a very, very hard job, you know, particularly like once you have a break, and we're regularly having breaks. It's like, you know, now it's summer, now it's Ramzan, now it's Eid, now it's Christmas. So every time, you know, that break happens, you just can't get the women back into a group setting, even though it might be a fantastic project. But we're working at women at grassroots level, and it's not that we're expecting them to write a 5-year sort of business plan, but just sort of come out, share those sort of moments with us, because those moments are very special moments. And you know, if we can sort of work together and share a lot of our skills and experiences, particularly, you know, the older women, you know, they've experienced so much in life, and some of their words are very, very wise. And they've come from another country and settled here, and some of the challenges that they've had are not even a third of what we faced. You know, when we were sort of growing up, you know, they were washing clothes by hand, you know, they were brushing the floors, and, you know, we've got all the luxury items that we want, really, and life is just so easy for us when we compare to some of the older women. But we still seem to be thinking life is just so hard.
I guess it's because if you think of back in the olden days when they didn't have the technology we have now, like washing machines and things like that, then women weren't actually out there working. They were just at home, so that was their environment. But where it's for women now, it's like you go out, you work, you come home, you're still working. You're still working till like 11, 12 o'clock. And I think that's what's putting women off a lot. I think for women, it's like, what do I do? Do I do the housework? Or do I cook? Do I, or do I go out and work? And for women, most women, they feel I can't do both. It's too much. I think that's what it is.
But you see, those older ladies, they had their own social networks. They didn't have community centres at the time, but they still found time for each other. They supported one another, and they didn't face half of the challenges that we're facing. We seem to be making life very difficult for ourselves. And again, when things are happening within the community, we've always got an excuse that we're at work, we've got children, we've got this, our housework is never finishing. We always seem to be chasing ourselves with time. But I suppose there was more barakat in those days as well. Like my mum keeps telling me,
I guess it's women just need to get themselves organised as well. I was in my previous shows, I've been talking about the Indian culture to inner beauty, and we were talking about for Indian women as well. It's the same for Pakistani women. It's just you've got your family. You're at the top, and then you've got your whole family to look after. And I was talking about how you need to get organised, you need to keep your time, but you need to make time to relax as well. And there's a lot of wise words in there that I was reading about from women. I can't actually remember them right now from the top of my head, but I have spoke about things like that. So I guess for women, you just need to pull yourself together and say, I can do it, and just give it a try.
And better plan your time, better plan yourselves. Particularly like it does get quite frustrating when we've planned something and it's maybe a one-off session, or you've planned 6 sessions and they know the time for those sessions. It might be, say, for example, every Tuesday afternoon and 1 till 3. And they'll say, well, you know what, we haven't prayed namaz, we haven't done the cooking, and we haven't done the housework. And it's like, well, it's 1 day a week. Just make time for that.
Well, for cooking for Asians, it's easy. I mean, you cook a curry or a hannu or a handi, whatever you want to call it. You cook it and you can make it last 2 days. So cook and make it last 2 days, which gives you 1 day to, I don't know, even if you don't want to go out and work, voluntary work, like Habiban was saying before. Get yourself into some voluntary work, get yourself out there, and just see where it'll take you very far, actually, voluntary work will.
It does, yeah.
I think that's what we need to tell
they can even like go into schools. They're always looking for reading friends or volunteers to help out in schools. There's lots of things that they can do. That's they can while the children are at school.
Yeah.
So plan the time during school hours that gives them the satisfaction that they've been able to get out and do something for themselves.
Yeah. It's not just about working as well. It's about getting your exercise, your time to do hobbies and things like that as well. That's important in life as well. We'll just go for another quick break. Remember, you can text us if you've got any questions for Habiban on 07460809218.
Online and on your home receiver, you're listening to Radio IMWS.
Hire the Al Hikmah Center for your weddings, functions and events with segregated halls for men and women, including independent access, able to accommodate 1,500 guests, private car park with car park attendants, easy access, great location and full free Wi-Fi. There's no place better for your special day. For bookings and inquiries, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk or visit our website at www.imws.org.uk. The Al Hikmah Center, where your special day becomes a cherished memory. Play five-a-side football in the Al Hikmah Sports Hall for just £18 an hour between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Call 01924 500 555. To book a slot at any other time, call 07968 222 886. It is related by Sayyidina Anas radiallahu anhu that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when a man marries, he has completed half of his religion, so let him fear Allah regarding the remaining half. The Al-Hikmah Nikah service launched by the IMWS aims to introduce prospective marriage partners to help fulfill this important aspect of faith. The service is open to unmarried Muslims who are permanent residents of the UK. For more information, visit our website at www.imws.org.uk.
Radio IMWS.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. You are listening to Radio IMWS, broadcasting live from the Al Hikmah Centre. I am Safeeyah and this is Safeeyah's Hour. Today I have with me Habiban Zaman. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask her, do get in touch through WhatsApp and text on 07 460 809 218. We were just talking about women in general. And
yeah, we must say that we are generalising. You know, we don't want sort of women thinking that we're sitting here patronising them.
Yeah, we're not patronising women. We're just we'd just be happy to see more women get involved with this community, any community really. So, do you know what would you say, Habiban, to these women who are just, you know, how can they get involved in the community? What do you think is actually stopping them?
From a personal perspective, I think it's about balance. It's about learning to balance your life. You know, once you get into volunteering, you know, there's some really powerful memories that you can embrace. And for those women, you know, it's a lost opportunity. Because if like now we are not going to take that initiative to volunteer or to support our communities, we're losing the next generation, because you know they're becoming involved in lots of other activities outside of the community, and they're not sort of investing within the communities. You know, we seem to be still having the same old people volunteering, getting involved in the in public life as we were sort of 25 years ago when I started. You know, there's very, very few that are coming through. And it's about supporting each other and sharing some of those commonalities and skills and experience. You know, the younger people are losing out, and you know, as a generation, we don't seem to be pushing volunteering enough.
Yeah.
And young people need to recognise the benefits of volunteering. You know, again, it's about them having different ambitions and different sort of interests within their own life. Yeah. But somehow we need to mould them. Like, you know, this is where we need to sort of put our energy in.
Yeah. Oh, I had something to say and I've completely forgot. That's not good. Yeah, I mean, I'm a volunteer. At first, I did think, it's going to be very hard being a presenter. You know, you're doing your research, whatnot, and then I've got a family to look after as well. But it's actually not that bad. It's fun.
It is fun.
I like it. So, also, we are looking for volunteer presenters. So, if you're interested, do contact on radio at imws.org.uk. I thought I'd just drop that in.
I'm sure, Safeeyah, you've got a lot out of volunteering as well, you know, just getting involved with the Al Hikmah Centre.
Yeah, no, I have done voluntary work for an organisation, Homestart.
Yeah.
Yes, I have got
Homestart.
involved with them. I've done attended meetings. They put me as vice chairperson once as well, so that was interesting. I've done leaflets, and you know, volunteering it makes you feel great, and it also looks very good on your CV.
Yeah,
when I have been for job interviews in the past, my voluntary work has stood out a lot more, because voluntary work shows you as an ambitious person. It does. It shows you're not lazy and you're willing to get out there. So do get involved in voluntary work. Yeah.
But then our faith also tells us that we need to get involved in all sorts of charity work. It doesn't necessarily mean sort of charity work in you know, supporting sort of war zone type of areas, but any minimum sort of work that they can do is very helpful.
Yeah.
And sharing a small skill with somebody, you know, just think how many blessings you're getting for that.
Yeah. I mean, think about the community women. It's our community. I mean, the men are out working. They work in different towns, in different communities, wherever. And we are at home all the time. This is our community. And we really, really need to get involved. It's ours. It's our
It is
home.
ours, yeah.
So,
We've got to feel that identity and that belonging in this community.
Yeah, so we do need to get together and work together. I mean, we have a women's committee at the Al Hikmah Centre. You can get involved in that. So, yeah.
And just look at me, when I started, there was no ambition that I'm going to get a reward or I'm going to be getting the British Empire Medal.
Just wait for the light switch. It's got a bit dark in here.
So, once you get that recognition, you think, alhamdulillah, and looking back, it's like, it's been an amazing experience. And, never once have I sort of thought that, it's not something that I don't enjoy or, it's been a burden on me. You do what you want to do and you put in the time that you want to. So, the women out there, we're sort of calling on you, come and help us out in whatever little way you can.
Yeah. I think
go and look for the lights.
Do you know, if you could just bear with me for a moment. Actually, I'll ask a question before I go look for the light switch. I think it'd be very good for if you, Habiban, could get like a group together where you talk about managing time, maybe teach women how to manage their time to look after family, look after the home and get into some work. I think that would be a good idea.
I'm happy to put any time in, really. And like I say, it's how you need to choose how much time you can put in, whether it's an hour a week or half an hour a week, and manage your own sort of your life in the home. The housework is never ending, and for me it's never ending, but I seem to manage better when I'm working around my time and working around family. And whereas if you're sitting at home, then half of the day will be spent on watching Star Plus or ZTV or whatever, and then it's like, okay, now it's namaz time, get up, pray, and then you're back to your usual routines. And how much time does cooking and cleaning take? There's only so much cooking and cleaning and washing and ironing that you do. You need to get out and meet new people, learn new skills, share different ideas and thoughts with other people.
Yeah.
And particularly if we can work with other communities, because particularly at the moment, there's issues around Islamophobia that we're facing on a daily basis.
Yeah.
If we can start building friendship with other faith communities, particularly sort of the white communities from some of the difficult areas, it's going to make our life easier as well.
Yeah. I think, though, with getting involved in difficult areas where racism is very high, I don't think women want to go there. I mean, I wouldn't. Because then you're putting yourself in like a dangerous situation. And I think especially husbands, they'd be like, I'm not letting my wife go there. But yeah, I think it's...
But you know what? They're not going to physically attack you.
Yeah, they can
Well,
you never know, actually. I was actually watching this documentary about Is Britain Racist?
Yeah.
And the woman actually tried to attack her. Yeah, it was pretty scary to watch. I think it's just a fear, really. It
is fear. I mean, some of the difficult areas that I've worked in, as part of the interview with Muhammad, I talked about this experience. I went into an area where we had BMP. And, it's like I turned up on my own, and the head teacher says to me, have you turned up on your own? Because, these women are just terrible. They'll eat you alive. And I kind of thought, well, yes, I have turned up on my own, and I've kind of thought about what I want to do with them. And we're going to be meeting Muslim women as well, so I'm going to facilitate the session. So we'll see where it takes us. There were a couple of women that were coming out with racist comments, but I was sort of internalizing them and thinking I'll deal with them when we sit down and discuss things further. But when we got to lunchtime, some of the comments were around Asian food, Asian dress, and we'd gone bowling, and the women were I mixed them up in teams, so that the women were mixed teams, and they were talking about all sorts of horrible issues, should I say. about these Asian women. And then when we sat down and talked about territorial issues, it's like, well, why do we have these issues? And after about half an hour, we seemed to break a lot of the myths and stereotypes that these white women had. And, you know, in terms of like the EDL, when we're saying that they've got sort of quite harsh stereotypes about us, you know, they've grown up in sort of quite racist families. So you can't really knock them because they've not experienced sitting down and having a discussion with a Muslim individual. So, you know, there is that prejudice there, but
what they fail to see as well, when like the most famous comment they come out with is "go back to your country," but what they don't understand is that this is our country. Yeah, I think that's. I just wanted to mention that because
but it's having those opportunities and ensuring that, you know, that we break that fear. Because there was that fear, because, you know, when the head teacher said that, you know, I was kind of like thinking to myself, yeah, I have come on my own, but, you know, as long as they don't physically attack me, you know, I'll give as good as I
get.
can.
You were really brave. Honestly, I could not see myself.
But, you know, those women,
position.
you know, now, you know, I know that they're still meeting. They've been meeting in coffee shops for different sort of reasons. You know, maybe just on a morning had mid-morning coffee. They've met for lunch, and there has become a desire on both parts. And there was one session where I talked about relationships and how relationships differ within the Muslim community and the white community. And again, our women were really shocked to hear some of the things that the white women were talking about. But they tolerated one another, they listened to each other, and they learnt a lot from each other. And that's how they've been able to become friends. Now, had I not taken that initiative in the first place and had that fear thinking, you know what, it's a no-go area for me as well, then it may never have happened. And also, like, you know, with like mothers' unions, I mean, Hanifa, you know, she's a fantastic person to work with. And when we go into a new community, she's usually a good ambassador for me to go along and do the talking. And, you know, once we've had that discussion with them, they'll say, well, you know what, you're modern Muslims. Those are not the sort of Muslims that we know. Yeah. But in reality, that's who we are, you know, and our faith is very personal to us. You know, we're not sort of pushing it down people's throats and sort of saying, well, this is the way we want to live. And building those sort of friendships with those people, it's been amazing. You know, there's some really good friendships that are being formed with women in niqab, women in hijab, women on sort of council estates that, you know, you think we'll never, ever break those barriers with them. It's just been amazing.
Fantastic.
Need to do more of it.
You know, that's amazing.
Time.
I can't believe you actually had that strength. You're so brave to do that. I could never see myself do something like that. That's brilliant. We've now come towards the end of Safeeyah's hour. Thank you very much, Habiban, for coming on to the show, and it's been fantastic hearing your story and meeting you. It's wonderful. So yes, thank you for coming on.
Thank you,
to Radio
Safeeyah. It's been a
MWS.
pleasure. I've enjoyed talking to you as well. Yeah.
Next week, I have another interview with the sisters who went to Mount Cricket trip to Vatican. They'll be coming on the show, inshallah, next week, Saturday at 5 p.m. So do tune into that. And thank you all for listening. Hope you all have a good evening. Yeah. So that's it. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Online and on your home receiver, you're listening to Radio IMWS.
Hire the Al Hikmah Center for your weddings, functions and events with segregated halls for men and women, including independent access, able to accommodate 1,500 guests, private car park with car park attendants, easy access, great location and full free Wi-Fi. There's no place better for your special day. For bookings and inquiries, call 01924 500 555 or email info@imws.org.uk or visit our website at www.imws.org.uk. The Al Hikmah Center, where your special day becomes a cherished memory. Play five-a-side football in the Al Hikmah Sports Hall for just £18 an hour between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Call 01924 500 555. To book a slot at any other time, call 07968 222 886. It is related by Sayyidina Anas radiallahu anhu that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, when a man marries, he has completed half of his religion, so let him fear Allah regarding the remaining half. The Al-Hikmah Nikah service launched by the IMWS aims to introduce prospective marriage partners to help fulfill this important aspect of faith. The service is open to unmarried Muslims who are permanent residents of the UK. For more information, visit our website at www.imws.org.uk.
Radio IMWS.